Hello and welcome. This is James Blanchard, Cisneros, at your service. Today I'll be reading the August 19th Daily Inspirational Message, the condensed version. It's 2 paragraphs long, then I'll center myself, say a little prayer, and then make 5 points on today's message that will hopefully assist you in the implementation of today's daily inspiration. Okay, here we go, the title. Changing the World a Moment at a Time. Paragraph 1. Today, let us not underestimate the power we have in any moment to make a difference in someone's life. What does a smile cost us? A warm greeting, thoughtful word, sympathetic ear, gentle touch, sincere compliment, or kind-hearted gesture. These are all natural expressions and extensions of the love that is our eternal essence and nature. The more we express and extend our eternal loving essence and nature, the more we get to experience it. By doing so, we help transform the world we live in. Let us not undervalue the ability we have to transform this world a moment at a time into a more hospitable, gentle, and compassionate place. Today, let us recall that thanks to free will, we are always just one choice or moment away from creating the world we can all be proud to live in. Paragraph 2. In any moment, we can shift from unconsciousness to consciousness. Such a moment is called a holy instant. When we are in an unconscious state, the ego's past programs and tools rule over our thinking and thus over our mind and life. Judgment, separation, and fear are some of the ego's tools. When we are in a conscious state, our mind is aligned with the loving mind of God. Forgiveness, inner peace, and joy are all signs of this oneness. Examples of the holy instance are when we go from judgment to forgiveness, from separation to union, or from fear to love. In the holy instant, we go from being who we have been programmed by the ego to being who we were created by God to be. In the holy instant, we become the guiding light that helps others recall that in any moment, they too can change their world into a more loving, forgiving, and peaceful place. All right. Point number 1. Changing the world a moment at a time. Okay, point number 1. Let us practice today being more proactive instead of reactive. Because a lot of times when we are reactive, we're kind of like in an unconscious state of mind, walking around like zombies. But when we become more proactive, when we start to set the goal for our interactions, then we start taking more control of how our interactions get expressed. Okay. And so in point number 1, we want to go from being in the reactive state or in the unconscious state to the conscious state, to the proactive state. Point number 2, how do we get into this proactive state? How do we begin to change the world one moment at a time? Okay. To do this, first we have to be conscious within the moment. Okay. So it's useful to go into the moment with a goal already set. And so your goal can be, today I'm going to be a loving light in this world. Okay. So I go into the interaction with that goal already set. I'm going to use this moment to try to align with my loving nature and be a light to others in this world and in this interaction. Okay, so before the interaction, you go into it with your goal already set. I'm going to be a loving light in the world. During the interaction, you remind yourself, my goal is to be a loving light in this world. Okay, maybe the interaction is expressing itself in a judgmental manner. So my goal in that interaction as a loving light is to be an expression of that loving light. In this case, I might be leading others to a way to show them how to forgive and therefore let go of their judgments, or how to have more compassion for others and thus help them let go of their judgments. And then after the interaction is done, then you review where in the interaction was I able to align with my goal? and be a loving light in this world, and therefore change the world a moment at a time. And what points during the interaction did I miss? And let me just take a note of that so that next time that kind of thing happens, I can be more ready. So that's point number 2, is be proactive by setting your goal, remembering your goal during the interaction, and then reviewing your goal. How did you do in the interaction in regards to your goal? Okay. Point number 3. Each moment you can be a loving light in the world, consciously be a loving light, proactively be a loving light. You help change the world and those around you. You help others see that there is a way to the light in them. And so don't underestimate the power you have in each moment to be a loving light in this world, to change the world a moment at a time. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be like just listening non-judgmentally, offering a smile, a kind gesture, opening the door for somebody, letting somebody in traffic, and any kind of kind gesture. You help lead the way, lead the world to a more loving place, to the place where they truly belong. Each one of us, in our own unique ways, belongs lighting the way for others to a more joyous and peaceful place within their hearts and minds. And so that's point number 3. Each and every moment, no matter how small that loving gesture is, it helps lead you to create a world that's more loving, not only for yourself, but for all others. And so in each moment, you can be that guiding light for others. That's point number 3. Point number 4, recall that we have free will in each moment, okay? So in each moment, you can create a holy instant by shifting it from the unconscious state to the conscious state, from the ego's tools and mindset to aligning with the mind of God, from fear to love, from a judgmental state of mind to a forgiving state of mind, from allowing the ego to rule over your thoughts and mind and thus over your life, to you consciously taking control of your thoughts by aligning them with the love that God created you to be, and then sharing that love with others. And so remember, in each moment, no matter what the ego's story is, and it can be very dramatic and complicated, in each moment, you're always just one simple choice away from changing this world, from leading this world to a kinder, gentler, more loving, compassionate, peaceful, and joyful place. So that's point number 4. In each moment, remember you have free will. You can shift from the darkness to the light in any moment. And the final point is, point number 5, is start to pay attention to learn to see the signs of when you are conscious and when you are unconscious. So what are some of the signs that you are conscious, that you are aligned with the mind of God, with love, that you're being the loving light of the world that God created you to be? What are some of those signs? It's when you're peaceful. It's when you're joyful. It's when you're feeling fulfilled because you're doing what God created you to do, to be a loving light in this world. It's when you're being merciful. It's when you're offering grace. So when you're offering any of love's tools and expressions, that's a sign that you are in the holy instant, that you are accomplishing what God created you to do. And so when you see those energetic expressions around you, then know that you're where you belong. But also learn to see when you're out of alignment with who you truly are. And so when there's chaos, when there's judgment of self or others, when there's anger, resentment, and a sense of revenge or hatred, when there's chaos or confusion or conflict, all those are expressions of when you're out of alignment with the holy instant, out of alignment with who God created you to be. And so when you're out of alignment, it's okay, don't punish yourself. Simply recognize that you're somewhere within your heart and mind you don't belong, and then come back to center. Go from being judgmental to forgiving, from condemning to compassion, from fear to love, from darkness to light. All right. I hope that was of use, and God willing, we'll see each other tomorrow. Peace.